What's going on, guys? Mikkel here, and today I wanted to get into some quick technical analysis on XRP. For those of you who don't know, this is one of my favorite charts that I'm watching right now, and I think it could actually tell us a lot about what's going to happen in the future in terms of a potential SEC settlement with Ripple. If you guys enjoy this video, make sure you like it down below, comment what you think, and subscribe to the channel. Guys, it really helps so much and will help me grow into the future, and I'll be able to focus more on this channel. So thank you so much, and let's jump right into this video. For you guys who didn't see my last video, the last time I posted this chart, we were making this big red candle right here, and I was predicting that we'd fall right on this trend line based on similarities we saw to this last cycle. We ended up falling directly on it and now have been grinding on it exactly as planned. Now let me show you what I'm talking about within similarities to the last cycle. I actually numbered them right here, so it'd be easier for you guys to see, but let's jump right into it and really break it down. So back here, and these are ascending triangles in which the highs become lower, the lows become higher, and we eventually keep decreasing in volatility until there's a massive breakout and the consolidation ends. I expect that same thing to happen here. So at first, in this first pattern, we break up to the upside and create the first high of the trend. We did that same exact thing right here, and that's indicated by this number 1. We then fall back down and create the low, which really creates the first start of both ends of the triangle. We saw the same thing back here, and it was slightly more extended, but fell all the way down to here, and then we grinded up the trend line in both cases. We then topped out right at this number 3, and also did the same thing right here, right at this number 3. We then fell back down to the trend line at number 4 and started grinding down. We are just at the number 4 right now and are currently grinding back on this bottom trend line. Because of what I saw in this previous cycle, this is how I predicted that the same exact thing would happen. Technicals have a weird way of playing out like this in a lot of the charts and can really help us predict what's going to happen in the future. Now, based on my own speculation, I would have assumed that this will continue to grind into here before a settlement is eventually announced, maybe mid to late October, and then it would break up to the upside. Now, this is really what some people like to call show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. Well, it's very interesting to see that this is really playing out perfectly in terms of the SEC case. Many people think a settlement's just around the corner, and if you follow the case closely, then it seems pretty obvious. I want to show you guys some other things here and why I'm really looking at this time range right now. If we see at the end of this cycle, we saw this region that I highlighted in red where the chart essentially broke out of the triangle before it really finished out playing out the entire thing. I personally think the same thing's going to happen, and that gives us about a window from October 7th to October 31st where we would expect to see this chart break out of here. This consolidation pattern, if we were to measure it, this one back here lasted about 171 days, and this one right here has currently gone on for 179, and we're predicting for it to continue to about 208 at the max. That's important to point out because this one is actually longer, we could realistically see this even breaking out sooner and making this range even more imminent. In the end, in my opinion, these charts have really followed almost each other to a T, these two consolidation patterns, and I would expect for these similarities to increase. So far, I would say about 80% of this pattern almost perfectly resembles this pattern right here. So it would actually be less likely for something to deviate at this point rather than just follow the same exact thing. Not only that, but we expect to have good news coming in soon based on the fundamentals, which would only further increase our bias that this would be a move up to the upside rather than the downside. I also want to point out something pretty interesting, and this just goes to the similarities. If we see right after number 2 where we hit this bottom, we actually came back up above the trend line and then briefly dropped below it before we continue to grind on it later on. The same exact thing actually happened right here where we bottomed out, and this low is actually slightly lower than this other low, but we dipped back below the trend line and then continued and then grinded back out on it later. It's really crazy how similar these patterns are, and it makes me really excited to be able to monitor this going forward. In my opinion, this breakout is imminent, and I also really enjoy that it seems to be lining up perfectly with the fundamentals. Now, the one thing I do want to say is that this range, if a settlement is not announced, this could grind out later into this period. This part right here is really just something to note, that because we didn't fill the triangle last time, and based on the similarities we're seeing, I would expect to see something pretty similar here, but anything is really possible. The last thing I kind of want to say in terms of this chart is that everything really is working out exactly as I pretty much have expected it. So I just think that this is going to be very interesting to watch going into the next couple months. I think it's going to be really fun to be able to look back at this video and kind of see how everything has played out. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video and found help from it, make sure you like it down below. Make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe. I really enjoy making these videos for you guys, and the more they're able to get traction and from the more people that are able to see them, the more I'll be able to focus on making these full time. So thank you so much, and for now, Mikkel out.